Welcome back to part 2 of the market update, the independent investor. I was talking about the average true range and how one day, or actually give an example here of just 2 days where we had these very large candlesticks down on IDEX Labs, which is symbol ADXX, which I've been short for some time. And so you can see here, just over 2 days, I mean here we're in kind of a trading range. We've had some of these gaps kind of showing up. And then 2 days, we basically went to the upper range to the lower range that goes all the way back to March. And when you see that, it means it's kind of people that want to sell, but there's not a lot of bids underneath to support it. And so these companies, as I've said, are getting very expensive. In a lot of cases, they've been using the cheap money that's available to increase their earnings by buying back their shares. And the momentum crowd has just kind of watched that drift up as their earnings go up. And in some cases, the revenues in that haven't really followed, because the EPS is just being moved up more by there being less shares in the denominator. And things in the market can continue on for a long time, but eventually things do come back to the fundamentals. So this is here that maybe some of the momentum investors are seeing the technicals flattening out and said, okay, I want to move on to something else. But when they go to sell, there's not really the bid underneath, so the bid-ask spread gets quite low, and quite high, and then the trades that do take place kind of gap down a little bit. Again, this is it was really prevalent last week. So from that, this to me was a bit of a first warning sign, and as I've said, I've been more and more cautious. This has been a very good run. We've up almost 400%. The underlying economic data, I don't think anybody would think the economy's increased by that time. Of course, it never does by the same amount, but this just seems to be a little bit extreme. And so what I decided to really do is just kind of sell a little bit across the board, even some of my dividend plays that I typically don't, because I want to move my cash position up quite high. I think now I'm probably over 30% cash, and if I see more of this, I think I will eventually maybe completely exit the market, except for maybe a few very secure dividend plays that I mentioned in previous videos, utilities and things like that. And then if I can focus more on the short side and trying to make money if the market does correct. Again, this is early warnings, and I'm at a point I just want to be a little bit safer now. This market, who knows, a lot of technicals are still quite strong. I just reacted to this one because it seemed to kind of really stand out. So on that note, then I did a bit of selling right across the board, but I also sold a stock that I recommended not too long ago, and that this kind of does happen towards the end of a market. You have a tendency to, your opinions fluctuate back and forth, and that's actually why you see share prices, the volatility increases, because you've got this wider conflict in views. So I did sell play, which is Dave & Buster's. I kept a very small amount, mainly because it was kind of continuing to trend down. I said it was in this downward channel, and I thought from the fundamentals it looked like it was maybe kind of bottoming out, but then it kind of continued down again. So I wanted to reduce my overall risk on anything that doesn't pay a dividend, and Dave & Buster's is more of a capital gain play. But I did, at the same time, I switched out, and like I said, I mostly sold, but I did buy Terra Nitrogen, which I've been watching for a while. The whole fertilizer, I've got potash too, but the whole fertilizer sector has had a rough time the last couple of years, and there's some signs of it may be bottoming. So and again, this had this nice pattern. It was $122 like just over a year ago. Then we had this wave down, another wave down, 3 waves down. As I say, I like, and then a double bottom here. A huge spike up in the volume, which a very bullish candlestick actually. And so I bought a position a while ago, but it's one that I think I might focus on a little bit more now. Again, its dividend is outstanding. It's 7.8%, and that has actually been reduced. It actually, believe it or not, in its heyday back in 2012, had a $12 dividend that was sustainable. And so Value Line has the dividend slowly going back up to 2020 to $36, which I don't know if that will get that high or not, but I'm quite comfortable where it is right now. It's actually not a bad managed company. Even during those hard times, they still were able to increase their book value, which of course you know I like. They have no debt, and I think this is kind of the things that I'm looking for. This is probably the next best thing next to cash. Its distributions are at 78%, so the dividend is quite sustainable. They've got a history of paying dividends, and the dividend payout's a little bit on the higher side, but it has been as high as 99%. So I feel quite comfortable with this. I said I did take a small position just a while back, but I will look at this next week and maybe add to it. Because I want to keep some income coming in, and these ones here already had their main correction. If the market goes down, it's in a sector that's away from the technology and it's away from the hot sectors. But I really now have to justify, spend quite a bit of time justifying myself to actually go along in the market. I think that's kind of what I mostly have for this week. So let's see how this plays out next week. I might have overreacted a little bit, but if this volatility within specific companies does continue to increase, I think I'll continue on the path to higher cash and focusing more on the short side and stocks that have really gone up by large amounts over this bull market since 2009 or so. So thanks for watching, and again, this is just for information. It's not financial advice. Don't act on this without doing your own research or talking to your own financial advisor. And thank you for watching. Bye.